Hello. This week, our church has faced a tremendous amount of pressure, an event that are unprecedented in the history of the Coptic Church. In fact, in the history of our lifetime. The fact that the Holy Synod and His Holiness Pope Shenouda announced that the whole church should fast for 3 days and pray has not happened in 40 years. There's got to be a huge reason why this happened. The Holy Synod convened, issued a strong statement condemning the atrocities and the attacks that took place by the Egyptian military on our peaceful protesters. As you may know, a church in Aswan had been demolished for 3 weeks now. The governor went out to blame Christians. In fact, he said Christians made a mistake and Muslims corrected it. This was a ridiculous statement to make. The military, as the president of Egypt currently, did not make any arrest, did not blame the governor, did not reprimand him for the statements he made, and agreed with his statements. This would mark the third church since the revolution to be either burned or demolished by Muslims. This has not happened in 1400 years. What followed suit is Copts protested, went out, women, children, husband, wives, engaged couples, all went out to the street protesting the actions of the Egyptian government, or lack thereof. The results were our military, the Egyptian military, opened fire and used its armors and tanks to run over Christians and Muslims, killing 25 so far that we know of, reports of about 4 being thrown in the Nile, and injuring over 327 protesters. The church has had a tough time this week. Many of you have questions. A lot of us had questions on the positions of the church, the positions of the leadership in the church and what happened. And the church saw that due to this event, it will allow us to have this interaction with His Grace Amba Morkus. He has been very well spoken in the past on behalf of the Coptic Church in abroad and at home. He's been on many Egyptian TV programs and international programs, talking on behalf of the Christian community, talking on behalf of the church. It is our pleasure that he's with us tonight, and we are thankful for his grace, for his time, and we hope that we'll be able to get all your questions that we received from many of you, and we might receive some of it answered through this discussion with His Grace. First, condolences, our condolences to Your Grace, to His Holiness, to the Church, to our families. And I wanted to ask you in the beginning, what was the Church's position on the march? We had a march that was planned, a protest that was planned, and I'm sure the Church has heard of that. Was there an official position from the Church regarding this protest?
Thank you for CYC, and thank you for Michael, because he started to have the dialogue about the position of the church during these accidents. First of all, we would like to explain what happens from the first beginning. The first beginning, not at Marinab Church. We know there are background of this what happens. In Umraniya, before the revolution, and Atfih, the village, its name Sol, and Imbaba, and now what happens in Marinab, in Edfu, Aswan. These incidents happens from time to time, not only from these fanatic people, but this time by the government itself. Because we know that the governor of Aswan, he said that clearly in the television, that the church started to build not the same as license, but over license with 4 meters. Yes, okay. In regular cases, the discussion between the owner and the councils. But about the church, there are some people encouraging by leader of the mosque, the sheikh, to attack to the church and burning some places and this demolish the church or they demolish the building. Of course, the church. And the governor said that yes, it's okay. There are didn't obey the license, and these people demolish and burned a small place. It was easy case. Where is the law? Where is the defense for the law? Are the people of the streets are implementing the law, or there are official people, official places, official departments to implement the law? And we know from the metropolitan Hydra of Aswan, he said that he discussed with the governor that they will demolish these 4 meters. Even there are another way to solve the problem. They can introduce another requisition for the higher places, higher for 4 meters, and they can discuss, they can leave it and have another license. And we can see, for example, here in our area, they started to build 2 mosques in the beach of Terra al-Ismailiyah without any license. And also the law forbidden to build anything in the beach of this area. Who can say that?
In fact, this whole town had many houses built irregularly. It did not have licenses.
Of course.
They have so many high,
yes.
1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors higher. And I remember that the governor also made a statement that this was not a church. This was a madyafa.
What about the official paper?
Yeah, I wanted your grace to comment on this.
Yes, there are official paper. And His Grace Metropolitan Hydra in the Synod, he said that we have the official paper, and we have seen this paper in the television, that this building is a church.
In fact, the protesters outside of Aswan, many of them had called me and they said they had the official papers blown up and they were holding it when they were protesting, and including the governor's signature allowing this to be a church.
Yes.
I know myself that there were priests from your bishopric of Shubra al-Khayma protesting. So why didn't the church as a church issue a statement regarding the events that transpires for 3 months? Why wasn't there a strong position that says this is wrong, you should not continue to do this? Mind you, in 1400 years there's not been a church that demolished, and since the revolution 3 churches have been demolished.
Yes. In general, if we have a building, we would like to use it as a church, we discuss this matter with 2 sides, 2 departments, the governor and the police department, security department. And after that, with long discussion or short discussion, we can implement or can use this place as a church. I myself here in our area, I built about 20 places with a license as service building, church services building. All these building, and we have the permission from the security department to use it as a church, and already use it as a church in the past, because long way to have presidential decree, long way. And in our area forbidden, because all the lands here considered as agriculture area, and forbidden to have your document registered in the official offices. This cannot. But our way always discussion and dialogue, discussion, dialogue, till we have the goal to use it as a church or not. But in general, after this long discussion, we use it as a church. And we encourage now the priest to have the discussion with the governor and the security department, not only the bishop, but the priests also can do that. But what happens for the demonstration about the church, not for the Renan, but there are background, long way. Started with before Al-Kush, 2000 year.
1998 and
Yes.
2000.
And after that, Alexandria and many things. And what the result? What government have been done to protect the Christians? Nothing. Nothing. No one arrested in Al-Kush. No one. Even I have seen myself 21 dead martyred.
Yes.
Shooting. Who are shoot them? We don't know. And after that, Samarlut and Armenia and many places happens. Even the man who entered the church and killed a person during the prayer, they said that, oh, he is a crazy man. This crazy man, and this cannot, and this we cannot find the person who killed this. They killed a jeweler person in Zaytun and another one in Kafr al-Sheikh. They arrest people. What's the result? We don't know. They demolish a church in Seoul. We thank the army because the military, because they rebuild it. But what about who encouraged the people to demolish, and the people already demolished the church? The same in Mbaba. What's the result? This means not Berenab, this the problem, but we have long way for many problems. They didn't solve it.
The church is known to deal with these issues politically, behind the scene.
Yes.
Meaning there is discussions going back and forth between His Holiness and maybe General Tantawi, maybe on the level of bishoprics, Your Grace, and the governor, etc. I will ask you a question, and I think it's on the mind of everybody else, or maybe I'm wondering, should the church have been much stronger, much vocal, much on the outside of its criticism of the government, be it during Mubarak or now, and take a tough position, especially now after 25 martyrs, and say enough is enough, and not really try to deal behind the scene and give way to speculation? And many people look at it as the church is hanging out its children dry. They're not protecting the Christians the way the church could.
The people in last time, they came to the church and asked the church to help. And the church sometimes, we cannot. Then these people find that they can took some actions. They started to have this action by themselves, not led by the church. Even there are some priests encourage them, but that not this announced by the church. These people try to express themselves.
But why not? Why not the church call for protest? Why not the church call for its followers to go out on the streets and protest this injustice?
Because our thinking and our goal always with the dialogue and discussion. But the people, they found that the dialogue, there is no result. Then they start to take the action by themselves without taking any permission from the church. But these priests guiding these people to protect them to any person would like to do something bad, they can keep him and protect them from outside. But this time they cannot, because the people came from the neighbors with weapons. Who can protect?
And the military was shooting at them.
Yes, and the military also. How the priest can protect? No.
Well, the role of the priest was to protect their sons and daughters that they know very well from harming themselves. They didn't protect them from others. When I have been there and I've seen the priest with two kids will get upset about a sandwich or something, or about, no, you should not go at it together here, we're outside, we're protesting, you should not fight. This is the type of thing. They couldn't protect them from the outside world. But in your view, should there be another reassessment? And I'm sorry to hammer you about the church. Should be another reassessment of the leadership of the church, of the role the laymen, the youth, these voices that are angry now and going on the street should play in the church. Should the Holy Synod have an advisor of this group to help them with their decision making? Should the Holy Synod adapt Coptic leaders that were outside fighting for the cause, but the church kind of kept a distance and said, I don't want to have anything to do with these people. I'm a peaceful church. I'm going to negotiate. Let them do what they do. Aren't we all one body? Aren't we all working for the same cause?
These people did ask the church they can start to the demonstration or not. No, they didn't ask.
Absolutely not.
Because they know the answer. We always ask the people to be quiet, and the discussion will have our goal. But they found that the discussion and dialogue with always no result. Then they keep the church for prayer and they take the decision by themselves.
You want the church to be for worship and prayers and spiritual guidance, and you want the people to be outside living their lives politically, speaking on themselves, etc. What was the church's reaction? What was your Grace's reaction to the news on Sunday night?
Of course, it's very bad. I was in Indonesia and I arrived here in Sunday morning, and I found at night that the very bad action, first time for my life to see in the television the army facing the people. How? And there are many videos that the army armored with some soldiers with weapons shooting the people in the demonstration. And also this armor attacked the people and killed some of them, not less than 7 or 8 persons. The first time in my life to see that with my eyes. I haven't seen even with the problem between Egypt and Israel. Doesn't happen. Facing the people with the army and the people without any weapons.
Did the protesters, as far as you know, have any weapons on them?
Of course no. How any man with his wife and his children can carry weapons and can see, of course, the weapons were facing by another weapons, but more weapons by the army. How he can put in his consideration that he will facing this problem. And also they started to have the picture and video by the telephone or camera. How he can take picture for himself with attacking the army or soldiers? Impossible.
Your Grace, I used to sit in the meetings when we planned for Maspero 1 and Maspero 2 with the youth. When we planned the protests, or what we were worried about, how are we going to get food, how are we going to get blankets, if people are going to sleep, how are we going to get places for them to sleep, we were never thinking, we never discussed what kind of a gun we're going to take, what kind of a knife we're going to take. But there was videos on YouTube that shows the military council, soldiers and the police standing next to them, protesters holding knives and weapons. Yom 7 newspaper in Egypt reported on Sunday at 4 p.m. on their website that as the protesters started moving from Shubra, as they came to the underpass in Ghamra, people standing on the bridge start throwing rocks at them and firing guns at them, shooting them. Who do you think is shooting at these protesters? To whose benefit that somebody goes and shoots at peaceful protesters? And this is 3 hours before the military itself shot them. So there were thugs, there were people that apparently somebody paid for to go and throw rocks and shoot at the protesters trying to disperse them. Who do you think paid for this? Who do you think got these people out?
In my mind, of course, these people with themselves start to throw these stones for the demonstrators. But this is not the problem, because our people overcome this case and they didn't care about these stones. because stones or some shooting, they didn't care about some small wounded people. But the big problem, after they arrived to Maspero and start to have them loud voice, because we need our rights. And the demonstration permitted by the military and by the government many times. And this is not first time for the Christian to go this place. Many times they went. But this time, we don't know what happens. Are there any plan to kill the Christians? Or it happens suddenly? Or I don't know myself. But the result is very bad. We can see from the videos, from the YouTube, that start the army and the soldiers to attack the demonstrators.
In fact, we have a report now, Your Grace, that we're going to show to our viewers that shows the beginning of the military starting to attack the demonstrators, not the other way around as it was said during the press conference, which we're going to get to later. So we'll see this video, we'll be back.
My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation. He is my stronghold, my refuge and my Savior. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation. He is my stronghold.
Sayyidina, you've seen this video, and initially what appears is cars are still passing on the street. So the Copts have not cut the road, as they said. They did not prevent traffic from passing. And the second thing is people running away from the military. The military starts attacking and people are running away, and you hear gunshots.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
I cannot comment, because the film itself comment by itself, attacking from soldiers by stick and by shooting. We can hear the shooting.
You can hear that very clearly.
Yes, and also we can see by our eyes with the stick. It's easy.
And you see the protesters running away. If you're going to attack somebody, you run towards them.
If they carry any weapons, you can use it. Why you didn't use it?
In fact, so far,
yes,
the military has not produced a single person who's killed, as they claim they have.
Yes.
I want to go to an area which is the role of the Egyptian media, the state paid for, sponsored television that gets its directive and order. And people in the West might not understand this. In Egypt, the Egyptian TV, it's a public property. It's not a private property. There are no private channels like we have in the West. This is a channel that's owned by the government, it's run by the government, has a minister of information that give it directive on how to operate. So that TV had a major role in the killing of those protesters. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have seen also in the YouTube that one of the introducer, she said that, oh, help the army, because this demonstrator, the protester, tried to attack the army and they killed 3 soldiers and wounded some of about 12 or more. They wounded. Help us.
This was the presenter herself.
Yes.
This was an individual that was paid for by the government to go and be impartial. It's paid for by the people, by the Copts, by the Muslims, by everybody. And there was some other calls into the TV station that night. One caller says there are 20 people died, 20 military, 12 military soldiers been killed. And when the TV finally figured out there was 19 people that were killed, they said there were 19 fatalities. They did not say from which part. So it's still playing the role of inciting violence and hatred against Christians. There was another thing. A individual called us and said, those Christians are burning the Quran outside. Go help the military. Now, when we see videos, and we have a video, I hope that we can have it or we can find on YouTube, those videos show the police, the military, and thugs standing next to them with weapons and knives and running after the Christian protesters and shouting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. What do you think? What's your reaction? Where did these people come from? And how come the police and the military allowed them to stand next to them and throw rocks at the protesters and run with knives after the protesters and beat them? There are many videos of them catching a Coptic protester under a bridge or in a corner and beating them to almost senseless.
Of course, I admit it again, I don't know that the plan by the army or it's happened suddenly that these people, lay people, came from area at Sri Mubarak behind the Maspero. They came with over the truck carrying many weapons. I think they are preparing for these people because day before, at Saturday, some people phoned the priest. We have a priest, his name Abuna Ibrahim, that please tell your people don't to go to Maspero because they are preparing some people with weapons, they will kill them. And Abuna Ibrahim, he phoned some of these leaders. He told them, they told them, no, told Abuna Ibrahim, no, don't worry. Maybe these people would like to put some encouragement or discouragement in our heart. This means we will not obey what you say, but we will go. That happens in Saturday. Then this preparing by some people. Who gathering these bad people? Who gathering? Who give them these weapons?
In fact, this is not the first time those such people have been used. 3 months ago, Egyptian youth protesters wanted to go and protest outside of the military headquarters in Abbasiyah. On their way, similarly, another group of thugs met them, shot at him, fired, and tried to disperse these guys. And similarly, they were standing right next to the soldiers and the police. That leaves me to conclude, I'm not going to ask you to conclude this, but that leaves me to conclude that it has to be either the military or the police that paid for these thugs to come and stand next to them and hit the peaceful protesters. It doesn't give me any other explanation, because it happens with the Copts and it happens with the youth going from Tahrir to Abbasiyah to protest at the military headquarters.
I think this by planning of the some responsible, maybe not the highest responsible people, the heads, but maybe in other grades.
I think we have a YouTube clip that shows the military armors running over the protesters. And that is, it's a scene you don't want to be, have small kids watching this scene, because it's horrifying.
My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation. He is my stronghold. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation. He is my stronghold, my refuge and my Savior. From violent people, you save me.
Your Grace, in the last clip, it shows the protesters with no weapons. Nobody is running. Everybody's running away. In fact, some people looked like they didn't think the military would run over them with tanks. They were taking it easy as they crossed the street. Why do you think there was such a level of violence? Why did the military choose this
the first
violence?
time for the army to attack for the Egyptian people. First time in my life to know. Even maybe in the life of the army also. All of the Egyptians are surprised about this action, because we always expect that the army help the people, not attack the people. They can attack the enemies, but attack the people, the first time in my life, maybe in the life also of our army here in Egypt. All the Egyptians surprised, Muslims and the Christians.
The Egyptian media, its coverage of this was varying, but mostly everybody tried to pin this as the Christians went out to attack the army. Those who spoke of the opposite, army attacking the Christians, were very few, and until today the army is preventing Coptic activists from speaking on TV. I was one of the people that 3 or 4 stations says, no, sorry, we cannot have you to clarify these issues. Many others that happened to them. That did not even happen during the Mubarak regime. During the Mubarak regime, when incidents happened, people were generally allowed to go on TV. What is your reaction to the media coverage, and why is it so twisted?
We don't forget that the media, official media, is the government media. I didn't like to have some people to attack the army or to make some speech contra the army or facing the army. Because we, as Egyptians, we're proud with the army. But how we can proud with the army and see this army attack to us and kill the Egyptian people? Egyptian army killed the Egyptian people. How? The first time to see that and to hear that, we can watch in the television very bad views, very bad films about the attacking by the armored and the weapons, and you can see some of these soldiers, they catch one of these protesters and started to beat him with a strong way, heavily strong way.
Doesn't that show you that there is a conspiracy? That the Egyptian media, especially the government-owned media, does not want the truth to be out? In fact, we have a CNN report that probably will show a whole different comparison between what happened and how it's almost similar to what happened on January 28th during the first parts of the revolution.
About 10 channels phoned me just in the demonstration itself and after that. Even today, some of the agencies, Reuters from England, they would like to have meeting with me next Monday, and I refused. Another German agency, Spanish television, and Al Jazeera and BBC, and many of the channels try to contact with me. Maybe they come, or I can by phone, by many means, but I refused completely, because I would like to keep the view of the army good. But how? How with these videos and with these recorded messages by photo and video announce what happens in Maspero in this day, in this night? Very, very, very bad. Nobody can expect that.
Today, if you talk to a simple Muslim on the street, you get the feeling that he still thinks that the Christians were the aggressors. The Christians attacked. The Christians are the ones that beat the army. And that was made clear during the army press conference, which we'll talk about later. But that was used, the Egyptian media, the Egyptian TV was used to make this a fact. What is the impact on the future life between Muslims and Christians? And was it this, the military trying to basically incite a sectarian violence in Egypt and make Muslims hate Christians when it lies directly through its media?
Yes, some of the Muslims, the influence of the media, of the television especially, and some newspaper, announced that the Coptic attack to the army. Of course, some of them, not much, started to feel that the Christians are very bad people. They attack to the army of the Egyptians, of Egypt, and many things. I knew from our students in the schools that the neighbors and the friends in the school start to talk with them with very bad way, not the same. And also in the work, in the offices, the same way. And in the streets, in the transport means, the metro and buses. But we hope that the media will announce with the right way that these Christians not bad, and maybe some of these people in the army have them with their own way, order some of the soldiers to do that, not the heads. I am sure not the heads, because the heads would like to keep the army the protect for the enemy, to the enemy for the Egyptians. But the army should ask these people who ordered the soldiers to shoot and to use the armor for the Christians. I hope if they would like to keep themselves respected by all the people all over the world to do that, and this is very good. If any person in the church do anything bad, we can say that this person is bad, he is doing very bad, he talk with bad way. We can announce that, and we are respect ourselves to announce that we have some people mistake, and this is very good. We hope.
Thank you, Sayyidina. A quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. We're still speaking with His Grace Mbamorkos regarding the latest event that transpired in Egypt this last Sunday. Now we're going to show you a report that was aired on Egyptian TV and the hysteric way the presenter incited violence against Christians, and that many people say this was the reason so many thugs went out and started killing people and helping the army kill the victims, and that's why we have such a high number of wounded individuals. Let's see it.
وعدم بنائه. هل هذا يستحق أن نحرق وطن بأكمله؟ وأدعو الآن عبر شاشة التلفزيون المصري، أين حكماء الوطن؟ لماذا لا يظهر الآن حكماء الوطن ومن يتحدثون طوال الأيام الماضية عن الوطن وعن تماسك الشعب المصري وعن المرور من المرحلة الانتقالية وعن أن نعبر هذه الأزمة؟ أين هم الآن؟ أين هم الآن لنسمع صوت العقل، لنسمع صوت التروي؟ هل أصبح كل واحد منا كان يؤيد الثورة وفجأة يجد أن هناك مصلحة خاصة أو مصلحة ما لا تأتي على هواه ينقض على هذا الوطن كله؟ اتقوا الله في مصر، اتقوا الله في بلدكم. لقد تحملنا الكثير، تحملنا الكثير والكثير، ويجب أن نتحمل الآن ونضحي من أجل مصر. 3 من جنود الجيش وأصيب 30 آخرون جراء إطلاق المتظاهرين الأقباط المحتشدين أمام مبنى اتحاد الإذاعة والتلفزيون النار عليهم. أكد شهود عيان أن مئات المتظاهرين الأقباط الذين قطعوا طريق الكورنيش يقومون برشق جنود الجيش المكلفين بتأمين مبنى ماسبيرو بالحجارة والزجاجات الحارقة.
سيدنا, you've heard the presenter claiming several things. The Copts have killed 3 soldiers. Initially, when she started, she said the Copts killed 3 soldiers and 20 are wounded. Then she went on ranting and talking about we should not burn the country and everybody who has a demand should wait and we should be nice and this is not the way to treat the country and the soldiers should die by the hand of the Egyptians, should not die by the hand of the Egyptians, they should die by the hand of the enemies, and indicating that those now, the Christians, are enemies. And then a minute later she goes, 3 are killed and 30 are wounded. As in, if that 1 minute, the number of wounded went up by 10. What's your reaction? And this is, again, the Egyptian TV.
And she said also the Coptic killed. Where the inspector to say that the Coptic or another people who are take the last decision that these people killed these people? Who? They announced that the court, of course, announced that the Coptic killed 3 and wounded 30. Who says that? And of course, this presenter encouraged many of the Muslims to try to attack the Christians, and of course encourage the army to kill the Christians, because if they can watch the television and see this presenter that, oh, take care, from your people they are killed 3 and wounded 30, of course the soldiers will encourage to kill the Christians, of course, no doubt.
We have another report now we'll show you that was aired on CNN, and here you can see the difference between the Egyptian media and its version of the truth as it happened and the international media and the recordings that it made. So let's watch this CNN report.
Monastir in Egypt, where dozens are dead, hundreds injured after a weekend of bloodshed. It's the worst violence in Egypt since the uprising 8 months ago that toppled President Hosni Mubarak. All the talk of a peaceful transition, just talk at this point. Look at this. This is the reality in the new Egypt. Too similar to the old. Military tanks right there running over people Sunday night. Clashes between the army and pro-Coptic Christian protesters turned deadly. At least 25 people killed, nearly 300 others wounded. Coptic Christians are an ancient sect that make up about 9% of Egypt's population. They have faced a lot of violence in recent months, but it's unclear just how the violence started Sunday night or who is to blame.
Your Grace, we have 2 different versions of the truth now. One that we know by ourselves, people that were there, or our priests that were there, or our youth that was there, and one that's being propagated by the Egyptian military. The Egyptian military held a press conference yesterday. In my view, was disgraceful because it did not acknowledge that it had killed anybody. It did not acknowledge that it committed any fault. But it held the press conference to send 2 messages. The Christians are at fault. In fact, one of the terms was used that what you call these thugs, that was the exact terminology used by one of the general, calling the youth that were protesting thugs. And to assert that the military did not shoot anybody, while we have 9 individuals that was gunshot wound, and that cars did not run over anybody. The military armors and tanks did not run over anybody, even though CNN shows the armors clearly going over people and killing them, and people that we have in the morgue, their bodies were all flattened by these tanks. What was your reaction to the press conference?
I comment about 2 items in this press conference. First, they said that in the beginning, the army doesn't carry any weapons with bullets. And by the end of the press, they said that they should carry bullets in them gun to protect television.
So contradiction. Right
Yes. Second item, they said that the armored may be driven by lay person, not army, not soldiers. And after that he said that no, maybe he's a soldier, but he's a crazy or
The
something.
situation made him
Yes.
crazy and was hitting people.
Yes. This means also this second thing, contradiction about these two things. And I would like to ask the army, who killed these 25 Christians and 329 Christians? Who have been done that? Who? Are they killed themselves?
So the military wants us to believe that first, it cannot protect one of its armors. All these soldiers outside of the TV that were standing to protect the TV initially and went in large numbers for the protest cannot protect an armor, and an armor can be stolen from them. I mean, your Grace is laughing. This is, you're laughing because this is a laughing manner.
How any person can steal or take this armor? Who can? Where are the soldiers? There are many soldiers beside this armor. Who can take it? And who are responsible for leave this armor? Who are responsible?
In fact, you told me something you noticed before the show, that the press conference, when it aired on Egyptian TV, it was edited. It was not live.
No. Because when you are watching, you can see that one of the heads, general heads, answer a question. The lady started to ask the question. Just she started and he answered. We didn't listen for the question itself.
Basically, what we heard after that is that some of the journalists that were in the room were denouncing the generals, were telling them, we were there. We saw the armors going over the people. We saw them killing the people.
Yes.
And what you're saying is not true. So they cut all this out of the press conference and they aired the press conference later on. Another point that they made in the press conference was that soldiers inside, when they fell under attack, may have gone crazy and start hitting people. Now, in many videos you can see a formation, just like it happened in January 28th, and the truck, a formation of police and the protesters in the middle, and tanks go through the first formation. The soldiers open a door for it to go run over protesters, and the soldiers on the other end open the door for it to go outside, and then they close the formation and keep the protesters in the middle. That looks like not someone who's crazy. Plus, these armors are made to protect against dropping in any smoke, any fire bombs, anything, because that's why they're called armors.
Yes.
And they call them in Arabic mudarraat, because they protect everybody inside.
Yes.
So how could the soldier be smoked? And
we can ask the head of the army.
a third claim they made was that Father Flobatir, who was one of the priests at the protest, was encouraging the youth to come and fight the military and inciting violence. We have a clip that we're going to show you for Father Flobatir, and then we'll get Sayyidina's take on this. Sayyidina, what's your take on this video? It shows Father Flobatir telling the youth to continue to move forward. Have you seen any weapons in his hand or in the hands of the people around him?
Of course, we didn't accustom in our life as the Christians to carry any weapons. Our weapon only the prayer.
Even the youth around him?
All
hands are
all
up
the
in the air,
Christians.
you
Yes,
cannot
all
see
the
anything.
Christians. But he didn't expect that the army will attack the people. Nobody can expect that. Nobody. In Egypt, Christian or Muslim, even subjects. But he expects that this army maybe protect some of these people. Then he would like to gather these people beside the army because we are one people.
That's exactly right, because in all the previous protests, the army was to say, I'm here to protect you. We're here to protect you.
Yes.
Whenever the generals talked to me, they said, tell the youth we're here to protect them.
Yes.
Because we don't want anybody from outside to come and bother them.
Yes.
So Father Flobatir thought that there are some thugs coming to attack them, so he was telling them move next to the army.
Yes,
so you can be in the protection of the army.
Yes.
He was not trying to tell them to go and attack the army,
Of
because
course. No.
he's not a crazy man.
How
He
to-
doesn't have any weapons.
Yes.
He doesn't have anything to attack with.
How to attack the army? How? Impossible. Anybody to think about that.
Do you think that, like what has been said by the Prime Minister and by the military, that there is a third party involved here, there is a foreign element involved?
Even if there are third party, who is the responsible for this party? Who should protect these people, these demonstrators, these protesters? Who should protect them? I think the government or the army or the police.
Well, if even there was third party, even if there were shots fired at the military, let me tell people here that so far the military refused to say how many people are killed or if there anybody that's killed. Now, the military told the Egyptian TV to say at the time of the protest that already 3 people are killed, as we saw in the report.
Yes.
So now it says it will not disclose how many people are killed. What do you think?
Who can accept television or the press conference?
Well, the television made our martyrs got killed because what was said on television.
Yes. Who can respect for his answer, or who can take the answer the right way? Television or the press conference?
Well,
We don't know.
One of the points that made me wonder is when Israel killed 6 soldiers on the Egyptian border, the military went out and said there were 6 soldiers martyred.
Yes.
Well, now the military says, I don't want to disclose how many people were killed
Because there is
because of the morale.
Nothing.
Because exactly as you
Yes.
say, there is nobody that died, and this is exactly why they're afraid to disclose how many
Yes.
people. Well, what's the benefit? Somebody say, what's the benefit that goes on to the military now, especially after this international attention was drawn to Egypt and the criticism they received, to carry on this act of violence?
I hope that the military will announce the right things, what happens exactly. We hope. Because if the army, as we are expect, respects themselves, they say the truth. We hope.
I want to ask you about an area that is very crucial to us now, which is the relationship between the army and the Salafi group, the Muslim fanatic group known as the Salafis. This group, after the revolution, just came up on the surface. They have attacked His Holiness time and time again. Some of their clerks called for his assassination, as well as the assassination of other people, including myself. What do you think is the relationship between the military and the Salafis?
I myself, I don't know, but we hope that the military will take care for all the Egyptians with the same level. Christian, Muslim, Salafi, Ikhwan, all this, he can have the relation between them. But he should take care about these fanatic people and extremists and fundamentalists. We hope that he can take care of that.
Now people said the Copts are going to protest, the Copts are going to go to the UN, the Copts are going to go to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, to file international cases. The Copts abroad are going to make a big deal out of this, and they're starting to hold protests. In your view, what should the Copts do?
I think we always keep ourselves in our country, and our problem should solve by the country, by the responsible people, by the authorities, and by law. We hope that. We don't care about to raise our problem outside. We refuse completely to raise it outside. But in the same time, we're asking for our rights.
But Sayyidina, we have 25 people dead. The military came out and said, we did not kill these people. These people killed themselves. We did not run over them.
How kill themselves?
Well, basically that's what the military is saying.
No, they can explain. How?
They feel they shouldn't explain anything to us. All what they feel that they can just say, these people, we did not kill them, like they did yesterday. Why is it not right for a group to go out and seek justice in the International Criminal Court, like it happened in Bosnia, like it happened in elsewhere? And I want to tell you that this is my belief that should happen this time, that people should go to the International Criminal Court, even if Egypt, the International Criminal Court does not start an investigation unless Egypt will fail to start an investigation and bring people to justice, bring military commander to justice. If Egypt refused to do that, shouldn't that be an option?
I think we hope that our court will be take care and have the right way and balance, not balance, but he will judge with the right by also right researchers. We should have right researchers and right court and right judge, we hope. And we can wait till the last decision.
How could the Copts get out of this? This has changed the lives of everybody in Egypt. It has not happened in that respect, this huge thing as it happened before. This will impact the upcoming election. People will be afraid to go out and vote. People now are afraid to go out and protest again. How could that change?
No, I think our people will go for voting because that's the only way to take them rights. The only way.
Since January 25th, the church has taken a position of supporting the military.
Yes.
Will that change? Will that position change now after what happens?
We hope will not change because we are waiting for the last decision of the army. Or they will have right way to give our rights, and also the blood of these martyrs will take care of them or not. I don't know. We are waiting for the last decision of the military, the army. We are waiting.
This is a strong statement, and I thank you, Grace, for being with us tonight, and I thank you for watching us, and we hope that we've shed some light on the recent events. Please pray for the people in Egypt and stay in touch. Thank you.